Hello guys. I wanted to make a quick video about our first year with no Santa Claus. Aria is now 4 years old and she knows that Santa Claus is not real. And I guess the part that I wanted to share was more on the positive side that I experienced based on this Christmas, and then some of the things that I faced with it. And so for me specifically, I went through this thing where I had to first let go of the idea within myself. And even though I kind of understood that the whole concept of lying and creating a belief that's not real, I still needed to work through it to get it or release it from my programming, because my whole life I grew up believing in Santa, and I think that even though eventually I found out that it was a lie, because it was carried on with my child, it was a belief that's still there, as in it needs to carry on and it still exists. So I needed to release it from within myself first. But I only worked on Santa, believing, like all those things, and I plugged them all to my technotutor and released them that way. The interesting point of it was that, and I'll get to it, I guess, as I tell the story, but what we did instead was that we, all the presents that we gave Aria, we still wrapped up presents and put them under the tree, but Aria was part of wrapping every single one of her presents with me, which was super fun for her. And then we didn't, like whenever she would say, hey, I want to open a present, she was allowed, not allowed, but she could open it. So there was no anxiety or anticipation created from her having these things. She already is someone who, it's not like I have to have something. It's not like, oh my God, there's this thing and I gotta have it. If I don't open it, just to open it, I'm gonna lose it. She's not that kind of person. So, when she said, I want to open a gift, she got the chance to open it, and that was it. And then she would play with it. We would explore it, blah, blah, blah. And then, if she wanted to open the next one, she would. But so on that sense, it was really cool because we didn't create the anticipation, the anxiety of like, oh my God, I'm going to get something. Like, what is it I'm going to get? Because she knew exactly what she was going to get. She had fun wrapping it. It was like this fun thing, like, you wrap it and you like, ooh, I get to rip all the paper off. So that was fun. And then I was wrapping like everybody's presents with her, and she went to her room and she got a whole bunch of her toys, and like little, like a purse, one of her purses, and then she came back and she said, I want some wrapping paper because I'm going to wrap you a present. So like she then grabbed on her stuff, and then she wrapped a present, and she made a present for me because she saw me, I guess, wrapping for everybody else and then not wrapping one for me. So she put it under the tree and she was like, okay, these are for you, right? So that was cute too, and it was really nice to see her, and we discussed, giving to others and so forth. The really interesting point that I found was like 2 days before, I ordered her a keyboard, and it came like one day before, and it was in the garage because it was a big box. And like the night before, I was in the garage, like almost like hiding, wrapping the box. And my husband walked in the garage and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm wrapping the present. But I'm almost like in a hiding mode. And then he's like, I thought we weren't doing Santa. And I was like, oh crap. Like, and to me, it wasn't that I was planning on like saying it was from Santa, but I understood at that moment that there were other components to just believing in Santa, right? So you have the component of like the hiding and wrapping while nobody knows and it being like that surprise, right? And all those components that I didn't think of releasing when I was working on releasing the belief of Santa. And I found it really interesting because many times we'll do that. We'll say, okay, well, let me work on this and any topic in our lives. But there's sort of like these arms that grow out of those beliefs and out of those specific roots that also need to be dealt with. And I found it really interesting because I wasn't consciously trying to hide it, but it just automatically sort of happened where here I am like in the closet incognito or something. And I did myself forgiveness on that because I was like, okay, like, oh yeah, I need to work on this. And then later on, like after that, I was going to put Ari to bed. And she said, oh, I was looking for you. Where were you? And I was honest. I was like, oh, we ended up getting one more thing for you. And I was wrapping it real quick because, tomorrow is Christmas. So I didn't, like, I told her exactly the truth. And if she would have asked in that moment, like, what is it? I would have told her. She didn't. So I didn't, like, bother to keep going because we were going to bed. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay. And so, give me 1 second. Say hi. Hi. Here you go. So, it was really interesting. Sorry, I like lost my train of thought. It was really interesting how all that came about because, here I am like, oh, cool, like we're really going to do this and this is so much fun because she's gotten to experience this whole thing and be part of it and, it was so much fun for her. And here's that one thing that I still have to address. And so the next morning it was really cool on Christmas morning because we actually just woke up and then said, okay, well, let's open the presents. And we did. And it was super fun. It was actually, there was no like, oh my God, like I really gotta open my presents. Like, no, there was just like calm, like, okay, cool, there's some presents. There they are. It's cool. We can open them. Thank you, blah. And she just enjoyed it. We sat with her, played with her, just kind of interacted with all her stuff. And it wasn't that, I don't know if anybody's experiences, but in the past, I know that I could feel sort of like after you open the presents, there was like that feeling of like, oh, well, now it's over, right? Like, ugh, like, okay, well, the whole thing is over now. And this time it wasn't because there was no sort of like anticipation created and then boom. It was just like, okay, well, yeah, we can open the presents today, cool, and then you open them. But, if I really wanted to open before, I could, or if I want to open them tomorrow, it's also fine. But I already know what's in there anyway. So there was no sort of like this expectation of, or anxiety of like, oh, what is this going to be, and like, it was really cool. That's all I have to say. And if you are on the edge, because I have friends we've talked about it, like, telling our children the truth, which we did on our side, but others who have thought about it and considered, could that be, taking that away? And a lot of the feedback that I got from family, I mean, hardcore, was like, how dare you do that? How, dare you take that away? And like, children deserve that. And, Arya knows magic is not real. She understands that very clearly. she understands that if there is a cartoon she's watching, for example, she knows somebody's doing the voice of that cartoon, and that the cartoon was created through either a computer system, a drawing, or so forth. So she is interacting with real life things, and there is no sort of like creation of space that is not reality. It's more of, here's what reality looks like, and you can interact with that. But you don't have to believe that such thing is true. So it was really cool. It was really cool. And if you're on the edge, it's such a beautiful thing to not have to create such anxiety and stress on the parents too, because that whole hiding thing, I was like, oh my God. Lying, the hiding, it was a really different experience, and it felt really good. It felt different. It felt trusting. It felt trusting. So that was my take on our first year without a Santa.